He is in the blockchain space since 2016. He also led the own brands department for a consumer goods company and closed a big licensing deal with Procter & Gamble in Asia Pacific. This was very cool. And he will talk about collaboration today and the future of commerce. Please welcome Roy Bernheim.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, de Mexico. My name is Roy. I'm one of the two co-founders of Decommerce, and today I want to share with you why I'm so excited about the future, and more specifically about the future of commerce, brands connecting truly with consumers again. But before I talk about the future, I want to talk about 5 years ago, where my co-founder and Alan, we had launched a direct-to-consumer menswear brand called Tebow. We didn't know much about menswear, so we thought it's natural to just ask questions to our consumers, our followers, and the surprising thing was the response rates that we got were through the roof. So we sent out surveys and we got over 40% reply rates. And to us, that was extremely surprising and led to a big aha moment. Somehow the consumer really wants to be part and engage and create whatever they wear, whatever they eat, and whatever they drink. And this led us to the conclusion that we wanted to be the first community-led menswear brand, where the community really is part of shaping where the brand goes, what it does, the content, and so on. And fast forward to now, there's a community of 400,000 people all over the world in 120 countries, where 250,000 of them have bought products from Tebow. Now, this was only possible because about 10 years ago, a bit longer maybe, social media platforms really gave brands access to their consumers. So all of a sudden, brands could talk to their consumers and vice versa. There's nothing new about that. But this was truly a revolution, led up to a lot of direct-to-consumer brands. However, what we started to realize over the past, let's say, 3 years is that access started to dwindle. That actually that access was not a direct access to the consumer, but that we were hosting our community on social media platforms, like many other brands. Expressed in numbers, the reach, one metric, for example, is organic reach. So how many people that already follow you, they want to hear from you, they really like you, hear from you when you post something. So that was about 20% of your followership a few years ago. Now it's down to about 2 to 3%. Of course, it depends how active they are, how active you are, and so on. But what that really means is that now you have to have about 7 to 10 times more followers than just a couple of years ago to have the same impact, the same conversions. And the second factor, of course, are data privacy laws, which for those big data platforms, which they are, social media platforms, make it a bit more challenging to be this intermediary between brands and consumers, and also make it, in that case, more difficult for brands to talk to their audiences. And that led to higher customer acquisition costs. I think this is a common knowledge. And the second thing is also, and this is the interesting part, it also makes it more difficult to keep your existing customers, to have that retention rate and to expand the customer lifetime value. So we took a moment, went into the books, started also doing online research, and we found there was a bigger trend here. If we go back further in time, consumer goods companies would produce a product and push it out to the market. Brands started happening where there was more emotion attached to it. Fast forward to social media age, where it was this direct interaction and engagement with the consumer. And where we're now, right now in the present moment, is in this segue from this one-to-one interaction through social media platforms, where we see a much more collaborative, much more direct, and a much more equitable connection between brands and consumers. And not only that, but also much more blurred lines, where it's not just the brand up here and the consumers over there, but where consumers, influencers, passionate people, can participate in value creation for brands and really be part of shaping them, and maybe even part-time working for them, whatever you want, how you want to define it, call it the future of work, where there is much more blurred lines between those. And this is where we're really passionate about in Decommerce, to make this future a reality. In other terms, we're really here as an infrastructure provider, so not as a data platform. The data is not ours. We really think everybody should own their own data, but really just the infrastructure, the protocol, so to speak, the software, where brands, consumers, influencers, and other people in the ecosystem can together create value and also get compensated for the value that they create. Okay, very high level. What does that actually look like and what does that mean? So the very first product that is out there that we launched about over a year ago with our own brand, with Tebow, here the example, is you can think of it on your own web shop. So you have your existing web shop as a brand. It could also be a website. You don't have to sell products. There is a plugin where you can really host your own community in your own brand look and feel. So they don't need to leave your website. So if you want to sell products or let them read content like blog, you can do that and really bring that into your social interactions on your site. And not only you can have that interaction on your website, but also all this interaction data. So all of a sudden your social media data, you can integrate that into your customer map. So you can really integrate that with your existing tools like email marketing, also SMS, because these are people that actually want to hear from you. They really like what you do and they want to be engaged. And the last point here is an important one, and this is really the segue where we go from Web 2 to Web 3, is that the tool also allows, if the brand wants that, to compensate and reward their community, their consumers, for whatever value they create. It could be content, it could be feedback, it could be inviting friends, whatever it might be that is important to the brand, it's now possible to do that directly. So we did that. Here I want to share some metrics of the impact that it had on, this is our own case where I can share the data. So the impact was pretty immediate. We saw a significant increase, 70% increase of customer lifetime value within 9 months. And this was mainly driven by a tripling of the repeat purchase rate. Because for one, consumers are just way more emotionally engaged because they're really part of the brand. They live inside the brand and they can directly relate with other people who also love the brand so much. And the other part is, of course, because we can now have 100% reach. So everyone who is in our community space, our own community space, we can communicate to. We can put something in the feed. For example, we launch a new product and integrate it also with the email marketing tools. So a couple of examples here. What does this look like otherwise? So it's really on the web shop. There's nothing you really need to do on there. It's really a plugin that sits right in there in the existing ecosystem. It could be on a Shopify basis, on a Magento basis, on your headless, doesn't matter. And when a consumer clicks on this community button that sits somewhere on the website, they come into that space that is completely branded and feels and looks as your own brand. And there's also an admin panel to this, so a backend to this, which has been really powerful for our brand and also the others that we're onboarding, where you can see who's engaged on what topic. For example, you get a lot of insights. Where is chatter happening? What are people interested in for content? What kind of products are really happening? And also segment your audiences accordingly to use it for other marketing purposes too. And the rewards, of course, as well. Here you can set missions, for example. You can say, hey, if somebody posted 5 times in the past 30 days as a mission, you can really gamify that experience to then reward them with either tokens, NFTs, or other kind of perks, like inviting them to limited releases, having early access to certain rooms, those kind of things. So I'm gonna stop here because we have also a session afterwards, just after the panel right here, over there in the pizza stage, where we're gonna answer all the questions. So it's a Ask Me Anything session. So if you have any questions in terms of how we engage the consumer, also more specifically how it works with Web3, for example, on a technical level or on a community management level, we invite you to come over there to have a more engaging session. We also have a booth just over here. And of course, you can find us online as well. We'd love to hear from you, get your questions, also get input, because we really think that the future of commerce is highly collaborative. Thank you very much.